All right, we got the fastest 15 minutes in social media. We're going to talk about religion, politics, and spirituality. And today, we're going to talk about something that's real political in the United States. We're going to talk about racism. Right, racism. And the fact of the matter is that these folks out here, they're upset because this girl Helle Bailey, she got the part of the Little Mermaid. And so I'm trying to figure out, why are y'all mad that this little girl got this part? And then they're like putting memes all over social media just talking about her, and saying some very, ignorant and heinous things about this little girl. And the only thing I can say is why. I mean, you are fully aware. I can't even get it out because it's just like in my craw. But you are fully aware that we are the best entertainers. We're the best singers, the best dancers, all of that. So don't trip on this kind of stuff. This is really not really something that you need to trip on. This little girl can sing. She is a great singer. And this is a musical movie, right? So why wouldn't you cast somebody who can sing in the movie? And then we're constantly got stuff being bombarded down our throats, down, that, and I'll use the term African American, for the purposes, or I should say the so-called African American, but we're constantly getting bombarded. For example, and I just wanted to bring this up, for example, like if you live below the Mason-Dixon line and you live pretty much in any southern state in the southeast, then what's going to happen? What's going to happen is, if you're living in any state in the southeast, you got Confederate monuments. Everywhere you go, you got Confederate monuments. You can't go downtown. You can't drive down Main Street. You can't go to the park. You can't go anywhere without seeing somebody that was trying to enslave your ancestors. So it's like, what in the world? And then they lost the war. They didn't even win the war. And that's the other thing that really is, it's horrible. But you got to go by, you got to see that on a daily basis, every day, especially if you live in a southern town. And I lived in the South. I lived in South Carolina. I lived in Virginia. I lived in North Carolina for a little bit. And I'm just telling you, and I lived, and of course, how could I ever forget I lived in Georgia? So think about it. We have to deal with stuff every day. We have to deal with white stuff being pushed down our throats on a daily basis. As a matter of fact, most black people in the United States of America, they have to live double lives. They have to live one life around black people, and then another life around white people, so that we can, be fully accepted. Or else we're not fully accepted. And everybody knows that, all the comedians got that joke, like when the white man calls your house and your mama answered the phone and she put on her white voice and all that kind of stuff, so that she can get in or out of some trouble. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the entire thing. So you got to understand that that's what's going on. And if you don't understand that that's what's going on, then, you need to step back and really examine a lot of different things that go on in our culture. And then, and then the whole thing with the whole Kamala Harris thing, the reason why it wasn't really fair, that Kamala Harris would use the whole thing about busing, was because busing, and when we're wrong, but busing was a thing to force what? Integration. And it was also a failed plan for integration. And my point about that was, there's no need, why are you going to make children do what the adults won't do? They didn't try to integrate the workplace. They didn't try to integrate, the social economic systems in the country. No, they went to the schools. So they got little kids, and they're saying, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to make little kids go in with other little kids, and then they're going to fix the whole race issue. And they were little kids, and the adults took no responsibility in that. The only thing that may have come out of it was like in the Heart of Atlanta motel case, where, then businesses that dealt in interstate commerce had to allow, black people to come in their business, so restaurants and things like that. But still, you can still feel that, hey, even though you can come in here, you ain't really welcome in here, And it's still true to this day, because I have never been to a barber shop and see black men and white men in the same barbershop. You might have like one cool white boy that might be in there, but for the most part, everybody else up in there is like looking at you like, I just don't see it. And church, and I think that was Billy Graham that said church is the most segregated place, at 11 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. This is the most segregated place in the world, because people don't go to church with each other. At every church, of course, there's always going to be a couple, and then they treat those people really good. Or I have never been anywhere, even though, I'm probably one of like the most well-read religious people that you have ever seen in your life. But everybody, when they see me, because, I got the beard and the dreads and all of that, they look at me and they just assume that I need salvation. And it's like, I don't need salvation, y'all. What I need y'all to do is act right with each other, And so, that's why my spirituality has evolved over time because of racism. And really, my spirituality did evolve over time because of racism. Racism is the main cause. So messing with this little girl just infuriates me. It's like she's a little girl. She ain't no grown woman, and y'all trying to inflict pain on her, embarrass her, make her suffer, and all of this for what? Just go see the movie. It's a movie. It's entertainment, y'all. It's not gonna change the world. It's not gonna hopefully it won't set off World War III, although we don't know when Trump is president. It could set off World War III. But look, y'all, it's not gonna hurt anybody. And so, and white folks, y'all need to get under control with that stuff. That stuff is ignorant. It really is. It's ignorant. And what we have now and I want to go back to Trump, and what we have now is we have the residue of Trump. That's what we have. We have all of these people out here who feel like they could say or they could do anything because Trump is president. And they feel like, and he doesn't rebuke any of this stuff. The KKK endorsed Trump for the next election. And he never came out. He never said, no, I don't want that endorsement or anything like that. That's racist. I don't care what you say. A group like that, just like, and I mean, as soon as anybody black comes out and says anything, the first thing they want to say is, oh, he's supporting this or he's supporting that or whatever. But the bottom line is that you can't, as the president and the leader of the country, you can't accept anything from some group that's adverse to the living conditions of every human being. Who knows what these people will do. And they just feel like now white supremacists, KKK members, skinheads, all of these different groups are just rearing their ugly head. Why? Because you got a person in leadership that doesn't care. And see, that's one of the things in the next election. It has to be addressed and it has to be done. And that's why I've been making all these videos about the Democrats. The Democrats are soft. It's like, stop being soft. These are things that have to be addressed. And if these things are not addressed, then what's going to happen? It's going to roll on and snowball and snowball and snowball. And eventually, what we're going to have is we're going to have anarchy. And I mean that seriously, because, I saw, I can't even think of the comedian, but he said, hey, we not the black folks that was back there, in the Jim Crow days and all of that kind of stuff, if people ain't going to stand but for so much. These children were born free. These children were not born in slavery. All right. These guys that are walking around here right now, they don't care about you. And I'm just being honest when I say that. So stop tripping. And especially when it comes down to a child, children. And we got, look at all this stuff. And we know that all this stuff is racist. We have children being separated from their parents in concentration camps. Think about that. Really think about that. In this 2019, and we know all the stories in history, all of the history that is going on throughout throughout the entire time of the world, and we've seen this, and we know that there's no good to come out of it. So you mean to tell me that all of a sudden, how is this going to work? How is it going to work? And there's children, there's already stories of abuse. There's stories of sexual abuse. There's stories of medical abuse and everything else that are coming out of these camps already. And it's going to happen because that's the nature of human beings. So just to form your mind, and the country, the border is not in any threat. Nobody is down there with tanks talking about they're going to take over the United States. That would be a different story. But there's nobody showing up with tanks. And the other thing is, half of the people that came up here, the reason why they actually came from Central and South America is because the United States is down in Central and South America doing things to their countries for money. So don't sit up there and act like, all of a sudden, this is, oh, wow, we're shocked. All these people just want to come. Everybody wants to come here because what? They just want a better life. They're not coming here to try to destroy the United States. And the other thing is, and then we got to put the big, put the big elephant in the room at rest. The big elephant in the room is that their numbers are dropping. And so there's not as many Caucasians being born as there are dying. And they know that. And the United States probably, in 10 to 20 years will not be a majority white country. In fact, it's not a majority white country now. If all the so-called quote unquote minorities voted together, they don't have a majority now. So that's the biggest problem. And even statements with the president saying things like, oh, he's going to take the citizenship away from everybody in Puerto Rico. It's like, what are you talking about? It's like that's one of the most ridiculous things. Or saying that he's going to get the president of Puerto Rico. And it's like, dummy, you are the president of Puerto Rico. Stuff like that. And we got to cut that out. We got to nip that in the bud. We can't keep on like that. And so, so as I look at it, it's just all of this stuff, even with this little girl, and Helle Bailey, I hope you do a fantastic job, or I hope you did a fantastic job. I'm going to go see your movie, and I love you, and I hope that everybody else that's black out there or African American, where, the so-called black man in America, just go see the movie, support this sister, and just make it bust through the box office. I know we ain't getting the money from it, but still, it'll show you that they made the right decision by casting her, because she's talented. That's all that should matter. The fact that she's talented and that she could do a good job doing the movie. That's all that should matter. Her skin color, all of this stuff is starting to wear old. Nobody is supreme over anybody. And that's why I started subscribing even to universal law. Why? Because universal law is the same for everybody. Race, creed, color, gender, sexual orientation, whatever. None of that matters. The only thing that really matters is that people treat people like people. Like, be human. Stop tripping. I don't even go, and I got a lot of friends, and they're talking about, black power and this, that, and the other thing. But the bottom line is, power over any other race of people by any race of people is wrong. Black power is wrong. White power is wrong. Yellow power is wrong. Red power is wrong. Purple power. But you get my point. My point is that there is no supreme human being. There is no supreme human being. None exists. Everybody, we all have our flaws, and the single common denominator, like I always used to tell, my dad, we would have this conversation, was like, look, you eat, drink, you put your pants on one leg at a time, shoot them with a bullet, they die. Same thing with everybody else. It doesn't matter, and just because you got power over other people doesn't mean that you should exercise that power or that you should be hurtful to other people. It's just not right. So, Helle Bailey, I'm glad you got the job, girl. You go, girl. Black girl magic in full effect. I love you. And like I said, I'm going to take my family to go see the movie. And I hope everybody else out there within the sound of my voice will take their families to go see the movie and support our sister, because she deserves, everything she got. She worked hard. She's working hard. And there's no reason why people should be doing stupid, ignorant little put downs of her. Anyway, that's the fastest 15 minutes on the internet and on social media, talking about politics, religion, spirituality, and today, the ugly racism. All right, I love you all. Y'all take care. Bye bye. See you next time. Oh, subscribe.